Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about season 2 of the show Heartstopper. Fun fact, this show is based off of the webcomic and graphic novel of the same name written by Alice Oseman. This season came out in 2023 and stars Kit Connor, Joe Locke, and Will Gow, and was created by Alice Oseman. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Heartstopper Season 2 follows Charlie and Nick, who are navigating life as a couple without the public knowing about them. Nick wants to come out to people, but doesn't know how or when he will do this. This season also explores the blossoming romance between Tal and Elle, Nathan and Farouk, the relationship struggles of Tara and Darcy, and Isaac learning more about himself. Heartstopper is a show filled with lots of young queer people in love. It has similar vibes to Young Royals, Red, White, and Royal Blue, and Sex Education. Season 1 of Heartstopper was phenomenal, and I was so looking forward to Season 2 of this show. Before this season, I read the graphic novels, and adaptions can be a hit or miss, and I think that with this adaptation in particular, they may have improved on the material by expanding on some of the stories that I didn't even know I needed expanded. The one thing that they do decide to keep is that Heartstopper is filled with so many queer relationships who are thriving, and while there are some relationship issues that they all face, they always overcome them. I think the whole cast was perfectly casted, but I especially think that Joe Locke and Kit Connor were perfect for the lead roles. They both do such a great job showing what their character is going through with their relationships and what's going on in their head. They have great chemistry, and after reading the books, it solidified for me that they were the best choices for the roles, and I wouldn't want anyone else to play these characters. One of the most heartbreaking scenes in this season was at the end of the season when Charlie opens up to Nick about what it was like for him to be bullied when he got outed. It was a sad scene, but it was the first time Charlie opened up to anyone about this, which helped Nick understand him more and made Charlie realize that he loves Nick. It's also hinted throughout both seasons that Charlie has an eating disorder, and I assume that this situation probably started that or made it worse. Tori is the perfect example of what a supportive sister looks like. She was one of my favorite relationships that Charlie has in the books, and that translated perfectly into the show as well. She truly supports him and sees all the pain that he's been through and is there to try and protect him the best way that she can. I love how when Nick's brother was being an absolute dick, she didn't just sit there quietly and instead defended her brother. I just really love seeing her relationship with Charlie and how she may seem like this person who doesn't care. And I'm sure she doesn't care about a lot of things, but with Charlie, she really does care. Olivia Colman is just amazing, and I am a stan of hers, and I thought that casting her as Nick's mom was just lovely. She feels like a warm blanket on a cold day, just so comforting. I love Tal's relationship with his mom and how she was always just there supporting him. I was glad that they explained a little bit about Tal's dad, which was nice to see what happened to him and how his dad's death not only affected Tal but his relationship with his mom. Tal's mom was always rooting for his happiness no matter what, and I just love to see that. I was rooting for Tal and Elle in season 1, and in this season I was rooting for them even more to get together, and was so sad when their date didn't go as planned. I was happy that they continued to give it a try and eventually made their way back to each other. They complement each other so well, and I love seeing them grow and love to learn each other for who they are. Also, Elle's outfits were always on point. I feel like she's always dressed to impress, as she should be. In season 1, I thought Imogen was annoying, but in this season, she became one of my favorites. She supported Nick no matter what, and even when they had a small fallout, she still cared and kept his secret and realized that Ben didn't actually love her and decided to focus on herself instead of being with Ben while he was always trying to focus on Charlie. I love the moment when she finally called out Ben publicly because someone needed to do it. In the end, it looks like she may be questioning her own sexuality with Sahar, but either way, I'm glad that she dumped Ben because he is an awful person and is putting her happiness first. Isaac's storyline of learning that he was asexual was an interesting one to see. We see that all of his friends have it figured out when it comes to what they identify as, but he doesn't. It was cool to see Isaac's coming to terms with his own identity and figuring out what he identified as on his own terms and not on someone else's. While I was rooting for him in James, I'm glad that Isaac took some time to explore his own feelings and figure out what it is that he wanted himself. Nearly everyone's household is pretty accepting and loving, and we see how that's not the case with Darcy. Throughout the season, we see that Darcy rarely takes anything serious and even has a hard time telling Tara that she loves her. We come to find out that her mom is not supportive at all and in fact is quite homophobic, and her and Darcy clash a lot, and that relationship with her mom affects her relationship with Tara and is the reason that Darcy doesn't even want to say I love you back. It was a sweet moment for all of her friends to leave prom to support Darcy and Tara when all of this finally comes to light and they realize that Darcy has a lot going on and may need some help. The Paris episode was such a fun episode. It let the characters blossom in a setting that wasn't in school and really just showed how strong this friend group is. There were a lot of blossoming romances from not only the students but also the teachers as well, and it was one of my favorite episodes of this season. I think it was a trip that everyone needed and I really enjoyed that episode. The music in this show is great. It often reminds me of shows that I watched when I was younger, which were set in modern day and had music from a variety of artists I may not have heard before but were up and coming, and some that I had heard before and loved. I kept my Shazam ready when I was watching this season because I always am hit with some cool music that I didn't know about but absolutely loved. I think my favorite part about this show is how they have queer representation across the board. One thing I love about movies and TV shows is that they are able to tell a wide variety of stories, and I'm interested in learning more about different stories because these might be some things that I'm not familiar with that I may not have grown up with. With this show in particular, I feel like they take this idea of what would the different letters in the LGBTQIA plus community look like in real life. Like, what would a lesbian couple look like in real life? How would you know if you were asexual? How would you realize if you were bi, trans, or gay? I feel like it presents these questions of how do I know if I would be a part of this community, and presents a lot of answers for people who are unsure. I think it's nice to see because we all don't have a lot of time on this planet, and it shows people that it's better for you to be yourself so that you can just love who you love and experience life as your true self. I truly think representation is important across the board, and this show truly nails, in my opinion, the representation when it comes to the LGBTQIA plus community. Heartstopper Season 2 is a lovely show that will have you rooting for everyone. The acting, the music, and the locations are all great. By the end of the season, I was looking for more episodes and realized that I actually finished it, but it's not a bad thing. I just loved it so much that I wanted more, and I can't wait for Season 3, which was already greenlit, to come. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please do so to keep up to date with more of my videos. But besides that, everyone stay safe, have fun, and goodbye.